So, how much does it cost for one person to buy a presidential election? $71 million and counting. That's how much, the Huffington Post reports, a key figure in the spectrum of super PACs, Sheldon Adelson, has spent or committed thus far to Republican candidates and causes during this election cycle. And while that number may shock, it's where Mr. Adelson actually gets his money from that may even be a bigger concern. Joining us now is William Cohen, an author and a columnist with the Bloomberg View. Welcome back, Bill. Now, Romney has a line in his stump speech where he keeps talking about the president standing in line waiting for Chinese money. But thanks to Mr. Adelson, it's Mitt Romney who's standing in line for the Chinese money, isn't he?
Well, I mean, obviously he's gotten a large portion of his wealth from his casino in Macau and his organization over there. But of course, as you know, Martin, money is fungible. It's hard to tell, what comes from, Las Vegas or Macau or whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the guy is worth $25 billion, and he's prepared, I guess, now to spend as much as $100 million, he said, to help fund Romney's presidential election campaign and try to defeat the president. And maybe this is the new normal in the wake of Citizens United, but it's the kind of new normal that makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm sure. Adelson's company made about half its money in China last year. Do you think he believes Mitt Romney when he says, "I'll stand up to China," as Mitt Romney, he offers this slogan in all these speeches, "I won't be like the president, I'll stand up to China." But is he really going to mean that if he's taking $100 million from a guy who makes half his income from China? I mean, I would have thought Mr. Adelson's going to say, Mitt, don't trouble the Chinese.
I would think he wasn't going to make political trouble for the Chinese. In addition, let's not forget who owns the vast majority of our Treasury securities. I mean, it's the Chinese government. And so, I mean, what role really can a U.S. president play in trying to, affect the internal politics of China at the moment? I mean, we don't have a very strong hand. So whether it's, they're owners of our Treasury securities or the $100 million he's getting from a guy who gets half of his wealth from China, I just don't see any of them going there at the moment, frankly.
Sure. John McCain has called out Adelson and raised talk of his money, possibly leading to some kind of scandal. This was Senator McCain on PBS. Take a listen.
Much of Mr. Adelson's casino profits that go to him come from his casino in Macau.
Which says what?
Which says that obviously, maybe in a roundabout way, foreign money is coming into an American campaign.
What do you think of that?
Well, I noticed that he's not saying that anymore. He's probably been silenced to some degree, Senator McCain, that is. Again, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that bothered by the fact that it's foreign money or U.S. money. I'm really bothered by the fact that in the post-Citizens United era, as apparently it's developing, somebody with a $25 billion fortune can spend $100 million of his own money and to try to singularly defeat, one candidate specifically. That seems to me beyond what democracy is all about. I just don't get that.
It's the buying of democracy, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly offensive to me. It feels like the buying of democracy. Now, of course, we had Meg Whitman, who spent $125 million of her own fortune in California to try to win the governor's seat and lost. And now she's back as the CEO of Hewlett-Packard trying to make a new fortune. So it doesn't always work. But frankly, I think the Citizens United case is going to go down as one of the most fundamentally disturbing Supreme Court decisions that this country has made in the 20th and 21st century. I think it's fundamentally disruptive to democracy.
Right. McCain made a similar attack on Sunday on Meet the Press, but rather than directly attacking Adelson, he tried to change the topic. Take a listen to this.
Are you concerned he will have undue influence on this election and undue influence on Mitt Romney?
Well, I'm not only worried about him, I'm worried about many others, and I've always been concerned about the labor unions.
Sounds like the senator was taken to the woodshed over that PBS interview.
One can only assume that that's exactly what happened. To go from being worried about Sheldon Adelson and his foreign millions to worrying about the good old Republican concerns like the labor unions doesn't sound like. Sounds like he got a talking to in the woodshed.
Got a thrashing.
Yes.
William Cohen, thanks ever so much for joining us, Bill.